Testing? Okay. What we're going to do is to give you now a sneak preview of the document that you have electronically. We want you to learn these 4 alphabetical sequences that go along with this process. In the sequence of time, BCEF, Building Condition Evaluation Form, has made a lot of progress. This actually has gone now through 17 states, believe it or not, this instrument being confined, being revised, being self-initiated for that state due to their requirements. And so the BCEF form is something that was looked at by the state legislature and affirmed that it met all of their requirements for validity, content reliability, and value. So you're going to see this electronic form before you on the instruments that you have. And at the top you can see BCEF. So as I was telling you, you're going to fill in the blanks as you go along here, the school district that you are going to do the evaluation under, the school name, which is, in our case, we're going to look through a building called Middleton Middle School, and then the building number. And the reason the building number is important is if that building has been divided and added on, then we're going to number that building 1, 2, 3 sequentially, so that Middleton Middle School Building 1 means the old part. And then down at the bottom here, we're going to see right here the date, year built, and the square footage. So if our building in Middleton Middle School is made up of 100,000 square feet, and we have 3 pieces of that building, we're going to have building 1, 2, and 3, and our square footage down here, as you add the 3 sheets up, will then equate to 100,000 square feet. So the 4 different ingredients that I talked to you about are this. The exterior building, as you can see from your document, and interesting enough, I want to walk you through a little bit of the scoring, but the exterior of the building is something that is the most expensive portion of the building. Foundations, the roof, the walls, because if the building is sagging, if the building is deteriorating, if the building is sinking at all, your costs are going to be extremely higher than if the carpet needs to be replaced. So let's look at this particular sheet. You look at yours. Your question will be, to me, good, fair, poor, and unsatisfactory. How did we equate to come up with a scoring mechanism like that? Interesting enough, the process was done by the experts, the electrical people, the mechanical people, in this case, the structural engineers, looked at the building and said to themselves, okay, what scoring mechanism can we equate to make this building turn out a score that is applicable and means something? You can appreciate the state legislature getting this report of $700 million. If indeed the $700 million should have been $500 or $900, then our credibility and our chance to give the legislature a good working document would have been at risk. So we wanted to make certain that when the firm that brought this in, and interesting enough, had used this thing 5 different states somewhere else, so we had enough of a good thing going that we then came in and tweaked it a little bit for Idaho. And when I say tweak that, it's interesting that in Oregon, it may be a different season, but in Florida, where this came from for a few different tests, air conditioning is something that is of high utmost importance. So as we walk through that portion of it, that's something that's required in Florida, but not in Idaho. Now, going to the sequence of numbering here. Here's the process that we use. A foundation structure is 12 if it's good, 8, 6, and 4 sequentially. So here's the thought process. The higher the number of score on good tells us that the more costly the item, because if indeed that building only scores a 4, then 8 parts of that building or 8 points of that building is deficit enough that it costs us to have to pay to upgrade the building. So as you see through this scoring here, trim, 2. You're not losing a lot with unsatisfactory. You're losing 2 points. And as we walk through our second piece, which is interiors here, 8s. So what I'm getting to the point is foundation structure is the one that's more costly. So it's weighted heavier with good versus unsatisfactory. And we're going to show you how to compute that. As we walk on down here, here's the third piece that you're going to get a chance to talk about today. And that particular piece is the mechanical. So we have exterior, interior, mechanical. These are systems that fit within a building that are interrelated, that, of course, run the building. And cost-wise there, you can see that electrical, we can run some wiring pretty cheap compared to new floors. Now, not the ceiling tiles and not the fixed equipment, but in contrast to the other ones, lighting, light bulbs, 4. Then the last piece of that we look at is the safety aspect of the building. What is inherent in that building that tells us we have these ingredients? Everything from fire alarms, emergency lights, to being able to get in and out. And the weighting there on some of them is higher than the others. So as we're walking through this instrument, here's the rules for you. First of all, score these in pencil, and you can run these off on your own computer system. You can make a printing of this, and you're going to do a scoring sheet for each piece of the building, or in one case, if the building's in one entirety, the entire building. The pieces that you see behind you that we're going to walk through today are your textbook crib sheets. They give you enough of an opportunity that says, for instance, as you look at the ingredients here, you're going to say in here, okay, I'm judging 1.1. And so on your document that you have, which is on page 26, you're going to have 1.1, and it's going to say nothing under good, because if there's nothing wrong under good, there's no comment. But under fair, it's going to show you minor repairs, minor shrinkage, cracks in floors, and then under poor, there, one column over, column 3, it's going to say you got major repair settlements. So that gives you enough of an idea that says to yourself, okay, I'm looking at the foundation, and it shows me enough of a problem that I know it's not good, but I'm not sure whether it's fair or poor. So I'm going to read clearly in here, or I'm going to look at maybe unsatisfactory and say to myself, unsatisfactory means that I got structural wall stress, I got settling, I got cracking, I got excavation needs, and something that we recommend that they get onto that quickly. You then make the decision. And so under foundation and structure, if we looked at that and say, we think that under our little bit of definition here, that it has a little bit of minor cracks in there, but nothing major, I'm going to circle 8 up on my score sheet. So you're going to circle these. Then I'm going to look through, when I'm through, 1 through 1, 1.1 to 1.5, and total my score. If indeed I had a score there and everything was perfect, then I would add up all the goods and write my score, and my scoring sheet will tell you by major area what the idea of that particular area is. So you're looking upon your sheet now, and I'll phase you back, but I want you to just get a real quick gist of how this works. You're looking, because we're doing the 1.1, so there's our scoring sheet. If we gave 1.1, which is our exterior, in all 4 of those categories, a perfect score, we would have 31 points, adding straight down. We would still be all right if we had a couple of fairs in there, because there's 3-point fluctuation, to get us 28. When we drop to 27 now, or to 18, we're in the fair category, and then over to our poor. And then if we have 10 or less under that, we're saying that that's unsatisfactory. That's something that has dire need for some replacing. So each of the contexts of the 4 areas are adjusted. Now, when we get down to our total adjusted score, you can see good gives us a fluctuation of about 10 points. So it can still be a good building and score a 90. When we drop off enough that we're going to be 11 points, we're in fair and sequentially all the way over. So if we score 28 on that particular building, it's probably a building we're going to look at and saying, we may consider walking away from it. We may consider doing